Hi, my name is Owen Myers. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a third year at UCSB. So my main priorities, if elected, are mainly involving a revamp of main community centers in Isla Vista. For example, I'm the current chair of the Parnell Center, so one of my main goals would be a revamp of the center to include things such as basic needs, such as a basic needs meal kit vending machine, and basic needs such as menstrual products and contraceptives located at the Parnell Center itself. Also, caseworkers located at the Parnell Center to deal with housing needs on a case-by-case basis. Nextly, I'm also the chair of UCIV in Isla Vista, and one of my next initiatives would be to expand UCIV and increase its station reach and give out water, snacks, and overdose prevention materials on weekends and increase our student staff, hopefully doubling it from 20 staff members now to 40, and so we can increase community outreach that way, and also expanding more community services such as more community libraries.
Hi, my name is Renee Folk. I'm currently a second-year political science major. I'm also currently an off-campus senator, and I'm excited to be running for your external vice president of local affairs. So the majority of my platform priorities do surround community and education. I think Isla Vista, since it is unincorporated, has such a large grassroots community with a bunch of varied concerns spread across a lot of different sources of power and authority. I think being able to bring people together to talk about their students and administrators to talk about their issues and find out what is the most pressing for them could really help educate a lot more people. I definitely think tenants' rights is something that is important to me as well, and educating students on not only their rights, but what it is to rent. They're all first-time renters, and it's really important to educate them on that.
Of course, I actually just came off of the Ivy Safe meeting run by Jonathan Zhao of the Community Services District, and I attend meetings such as that and give presentations for UCIV. I'm also acquainted with the Parks District. I went to a few IVRPD meetings and presented for UCIV. I've also worked with them closely on garnering Camino Pescadero Park, which is where UCIV is currently stationed. So I'm familiar, I believe, with the board member Kimberly, who I've worked with regarding making that contract. I've also worked with her extensively on Deltopia and things of that nature, and so I'm also acquainted with Matthew Bly of the UCPD, and also Garrett Tesla, who actually spoke at the Ivy Safe meeting as well, and who I've communicated with before about UCIV's initiatives on Deltopia. So I feel like I'm acquainted enough with
As I understand it, Isla Vista is currently an unincorporated area in Santa Barbara County, so it does not have a city or municipal government to make laws themselves. We do have the Isla Vista Community Services District, which was added in 2014, firstly funded by UCSB, and then now there is a utility tax that we actually pay into to get services from the Community Service District. Sorry, and the student on that board, there's both students and adult administrator type of people, experts. But I think definitely being able to collaborate with both students and administrators, being able to voice student concerns with tact, understanding that the administrators have their own values and beliefs that they're trying to support, and yeah.
I think the suspension of the restorative justice program, and as well as the initiatives of Ivy Foot Patrol, such as taking off water stations from DP, was a representation of a gross negligence towards student safety. I think it was not justifiable at all, and as EVPI would definitely work to remedy those such things. For example, one of my remedies was, as UCIV chair, I sent out carts with water onto DP because Garrett Tesla kind of jurisdicted that there can't be any water stations on DP at all, and the suspension of restorative justice had no major consequential merits. So one of my main talking points would be working with them in order to remedy the situation. I don't want restorative justice ever suspended again on Deltopia. I think it was very ineffective, and working to expand UCIV's influence.
The housing crisis in Isla Vista, I think it's from the root of what UCSB is. It used to be an area of Chumash land, and very quickly, without any time of it being like a normal residential area, was bought by the government and became a college campus. So very quickly, landlords came and were like, this is student housing. It's as an econ student would say, it's an inelastic good. Renters are able to charge higher. They're able to take advantage of the fact that students are not very educated on how to rent. And I think that's a big part of the housing crisis. Students don't know how much their rent's going to cost, if their financial aid is going to match their rent. And generally, there's just not enough affordable housing built by the school itself. There's just a lot of private companies, corporations that have residencies across the nation.
I think the housing crisis is unfortunate as like a very recurring and strenuous issue for a lot of students. I understand in a one-year term it is very difficult to work towards lowering rent rates, especially as a position in student government. However, I believe what I can do is provide students with more need, like housing needs, by hiring caseworkers at the Pardall Center. I would hire 2 part-time caseworkers who would be able to work with caseworkers on a case, who would be able to work with students on a case-by-case basis for their housing needs, because I know IBTU has been looking for them for a long time, and so I'd work closely with them. I'm also making a housing guide for the Pardall Center, and I would expand on that as well.
So as I stated in my first answer, I think a lot of issues in IV could be mitigated with a lot more communication and community education. I know the EVPLA office this year has already done a lot of work with the Isla Vista Foot Patrol and the police department in general, holding like public forums for students to be able to come and voice their concerns to the department. Regarding the suspension of the restorative justice program, I know the EVPLA office this year was vocally against it, and I would also be vocally against something like that being withdrawn for Deltopia, although I would definitely want to emphasize the need for safety during that time, and I understand the IV Foot Patrol's desire to create a safe space during such a turbulent time. I think it's also important that students are fairly tried for being new people in society and not having to pay too much money.